Radiohead, a moon-shaped pool. What up, random rockers? And, actually, hold on a second. I need to bring something in here in this room for a minute. And, for obvious reasons. And what you see behind me is my recommendations of albums that you should get by Radiohead. Also, this is the follow-up. This album here will be amongst the top 5. If I were to do a random rock countdown for this, I have decided I will not for the time being. I may wait until they decide to do a 10th studio album so I can do it in a top 10 type fashion, since there's only 9 studio records, but I don't know if they ever will. If they do not, and they decide to call it quits, and like do defunct, then I will just do it with the 9 albums they have. We will see what happens in the future of Radiohead. For Random Rock Countdown, Radiohead will be dependent on it. For now, here are the albums that I have listened to recently that I highly recommend. And the first time I bothered to pick up anything Radiohead was their best of set. So, I mean, I kind of dipped my toes into it. I've heard plenty of stuff between Creep and, which is probably the only good song you'll get out of Pablo Honey, which I highly recommend over the last record, King of Limbs, which was shit. So yeah, this album needed to be better than that one. And my goodness gracious, was it ever. My goodness gracious, was it ever. Oh, yes, it's almost as if King of Limbs just needed to be non-existent, and this would be the album that should have followed up to In Rainbows. In Rainbows. In case you didn't hear me when I turned my head. I know people who think I do that a lot. So, personally. But yes, Kid A, The Bends, and OK Computer are also pretty fantastic. And, you know, all of these albums and the album I'm reviewing here are the albums you must have in your discography if you are truly a Radiohead fan that knows good Radiohead music. Now that I said all that, let's get into the album itself. The thing is, I don't know what I wanted to, how I wanted to do this, because it's hard for me to describe. I went through lyrics and it was hard to really go through it. Since I only have this on iTunes, I don't got a lyric sheet to go off of like what I have here, but we'll see what I can do here. I'm going to attempt to do this track by track and hope I don't get cut off like I did with the Weezer. And I'm not sure I want to do a part 2 of this. So let's hurry up and get straight into it. And I'll give my overall thoughts. So, Burn the Witch. Let's see. This track has a long history of... This track, the band has had a long history with. Phrases related to Burn the Witch first appeared in the cover art of 2002's Hail to the Thief, a record. The lyrics were reportedly finished in 2005. Since then, it has been teased through the years, appearing in unfinished track lists and in snippets of slow, somber piano chords performed at concerts, following a cryptic social media campaign in which all of Radiohead's online presence was deleted and sending promotional leaflets to Radiohead fans in the UK. The official video, which was released this past May 3rd, had relied a lot on this resemblance to in its automation and style to some UK series I've never heard of called Trumpton. But however, there is a lot of the style of this music video being very similar to the cult horror classic, the original Wicker Man, not the remake with Nicolas Cage. That's just a joke in and of itself, and that's the only reason why you would watch it, just to see a big old joke. No offense to any Nicolas Cage fans that I know of. You know who you are. I like Nicolas Cage, so don't knock me off here. So, when when he actually knows what he's doing, and he's not trying to phone in just to get a check, and that's probably why he's in debt. Okay. And yeah, that's kind of what this track is based around. And now on to track 2, which is very good. It's a very good track. Burn the witch. Oh, Tom York. I sometimes can do them well. That time, nope. I tried. We will try again on another one of these somewhere. Maybe. Never. A little bit better. For Daydreaming. This one contains allusions to Plato's allegory of the cave. This is depicted in the music video both at the beginning and end, just like the symmetry in the song. The video shows Tom walking around in his own world, not really connecting to anyone, and he ends up crawling into a cage away from it all. It is into a cage. I think it's a cave. Actually, if I've seen the video, I don't. This source is semi-retarded here. It's a way of hiding from all the bad stuff happening in the world, thus accepting it and giving up fighting for your ideas. I've had my moments with that kind of mentality. I almost did with this channel at some point. Luckily, that's not the case. And the Thrice video was all the more love. Thanks again, guys. Still, words cannot, express how well this is getting received, and I'd like to see it get to 200 views, just to make my day. And yeah, there's not much else, and the song itself was worked. The clip was directed by maker Paul Thomas Anderson, who has worked extensively with Radiohead guitarist Johnny Greenwood, specifically on a lot, which he has composed a lot of scores for his films, a lot of it. The next, and it's not bad. And then they have this weird voice thing that's like kind of robotic, creepily, like this is what it is. What it is. It's some weird thing. And then there's Dex Dark, so no one else thinks. Yeah. Let's see this edit here. Yeah, this song continues the space narrative that Moonshaped Pool seems to have. Tom uses metaphors of a UFO and extraterrestrial matter in order to portray the questions of darkness of humanity. This song is also a personal song for Tom. In parts, it seems as if he's speaking directly to a woman in his past. The woman could be Rachel Owen, Tom's former partner of 23 years, as theorized in Daydreaming, the last track, which you can go off of that for Daydreaming if you want. 23 years marks half of Tom's life as well, which is what the Daydreaming was meant to say. Then there's Desert Island Disc. Is track 4. And the title of the song is a play on the title of this song is a play on the classic BBC Radio 4 talk show program Desert Island Discs, where celebrities might name 8 recordings, usually songs that they would take away from them on a desert island. Interestingly, Radiohead songs have appeared on a number of lists. Now British Prime Minister David Cameron named Flake Plastic Trees as one of his tracks, and comedian David Mitchell chose The Much More Like Creep, blah, 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 blah. From this song. Like a lot of these songs, I'm going to just tell you, were all songs that had never seen the studio light of day. And this song having been performed, most of them have been gained their life first through live performances. This one, Pathway to Paris Conference, on December 4th, 2015, along with a song called Silent Spring, which would later become The Numbers, which we will eventually get to within 4 more tracks. Next track is called Full Stop. This track is was a song that they debuted on their 2012 tour. They debuted in Chicago on their 2012 tour. It is a soaring, ominous, driving krautrock type song, and it's very long, and it has a very interesting beat. Probably the most interesting beat that I've seen from them and heard from them since Idiotech. It has that kind of vibe to it. Yeah. Pretty catchy. Didn't think I'd be... You really messed up. You really messed up. Okay, now back to now next track, Glass Eyes. This watery piano ballad featuring a stark string section tackles themes of anxiety and alienation as the character is frightened by society, leading him to escape the unknown. Radiohead released this track as a vignette to accompany this on an Instagram page or something. I'm trying to remember what the track deals with specifically. Yeah, it's a kind of a dig at his ex-wife, I guess. Or partner of... And then there's Identikit, which kind of, in a way, which the song itself, an Identikit, for those who don't know what that is a picture of a person reconstructed from strips showing facial features selected to match witnesses' descriptions used by the police to build a likeness of a person sought for a crime. This track in this album, I was right when I said that in the first time. Identikit explores the feelings of breaking people's hearts and making it rain, meaning that this action makes the other partner in the situation sob, cry, and become depressed that their love was never meant to be. No doubt the name of this song is referring to how we reconstruct people in our minds and become bitter and resentful towards them. And they performed this song alongside the Full Stop track I mentioned a while back during their 2012 tour. Well, neither song was officially released in CDQ until 2016 when they released this album, of course. Oh, but of course. And let's see, now we're going to talk about Numbers. The Numbers, which was originally titled Silent Spring. This track was originally released in this past December by Tom York at Pathways at Paris under the name Silent Spring. It is a folksy, reverb-laden song and has drawn a lot of comparisons to Neil Young for some reason. Tom had stated once that if you ever were to try to write a protest song about climate change, it would be shit. Well, unfortunately, luckily for him, which is what this song is technically about, a song about climate change. A protest song about climate change, that is. And I do think and I do agree, he's kinda, in the sense that he's underestimated himself. Yeah. That being said, now on to present tense. This track specifically had its roots far back into 2009, which I performed at Latitude Festival, and apparently is considered a fan favorite track. This version of the song that we have on this album relies on influences of Brazilian samba and bossa nova music. When with the chord progression, it is very similar to an intro that used in a Johnny Greenwood piece that he composed for the soundtrack to a film called Norwegian Wood, which I've never heard of up until this point. And it's actually trying to figure out what it was. A lot of these do deal with, it seems, a lot of somberly dealing with his breakups with his and stuff, with his partner, I guess, here and there. Then there's the long Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief. Mouthful of a title. Thought we're back in the emo days of the 2000s. Like how Brand New did stuff, which Brand New's great, but, you know. They eventually learned not to have titles that damn long in later efforts. The song itself. It's named after a popular English children's counting rhyme. It is often used in children's games to decide who is it, and is referred many times in popular culture and literature. And that's kind of sort of what this is, I guess, about, but there's not much to it. Sort of a lot of environmental sounding stuff here. Well, anyway, I mean, it is also like a lot of these way these sounds are done, composed and everything, and arranged is where that really is where this album really shines. And then, of course, the final track was a track that they had released on their I Might Be Wrong live sessions, and was originally going to be it was in fact first played since '95, which was right around the time they started. And it has appeared in many set lists. Their live album Might Be Wrong, live recordings in 2001. And many people who are fans of this band have considered this to be Tom York's best moments as a songwriter. The soundtrack was to be featured on 2000's Kid A or 2001's Amnesiac, and a recording was during these sessions had been ultimately scrapped, and it was said by producer Nigel Godrich that to Tom's credit, he needs to feel a song has validation, that it has a reason to exist as a recording. We could do Trill of Lights and make it sound like John Mayer, but nobody wants to do that, obviously. It doesn't sound like, you want it to sound like a Radiohead track, not like a John Mayer song. I mean, you're fucking Radiohead, not John Mayer. I mean, dude. The song itself, the title in it itself is an ironic reference to a Christian advocacy group that lobbies against premarital sex. The song suggests an intimacy considerably further down the line in a relationship, an intimacy that is now at stake. According to the pleading chorus, the protagonist is persuading their lover to wait in the hope time will soothe their altercation. The song, as it appears on Moonshaped Pool, carries an even deeper melancholy tone considering Tom York's separation from his partner of 23 years, as I had mentioned earlier in this review, within 2015. And it is noted that this track is now noted officially to be the 100th LP song. They've had over 9 albums, and they officially have 100 LP songs. Not counting any bonus tracks, of course. So, yeah. Now, overall with the Moonshaped Pool. What are my thoughts? Overall, I find this album to be far more satisfying than Keen of Limbs, What a Piece of Shit. And, yeah. And I won't say that, comparatively speaking, these albums here are kind of, I mean, I may have to give The Rainbows another listen, but other than that, and maybe Kid A another listen, but definitely not on the Benz or OK Computers level. Definitely not. I mean, it could come close, but I gotta listen to these again, I think, at some point. So I don't have it, I'm not doing it right in my calendar yet, so I got time. Plus, I got other stuff going on, so again, I got another brand new artist with his stuff that I will and their debut 9-track debut album that will be very interesting to talk about. I don't know how much I will be able to talk about it. I can just give a high recommendation if I have to, but which is pretty good recommendation. Like, I will probably do the review anyway just to talk about it because nobody else will talk about it. I might as well. Aside from like Cover Killer Nation. If not for him, I wouldn't be talking about that album when I get to it. Overall, but back to this record, overall, it is a fun listen. It's worth going back to far more than Keen of Limbs. Though I will say, the fact that most of these tracks were songs that they had already released very alive and never had a chance to record them, it really just feels more like they could have just... It does feel like it's good enough to be a full-length studio album, but the tracks themselves were not even fairly new tracks to write. They were just songs they had already composed and written over the past several years of their career, and they just finally found a chance to, with maybe the exception of the first 2 tracks, I guess, but for the most part, just all these tracks have a new identity, just were things they did live and then brought a new identity to them that would service and have purpose for this particular album as a whole, which in turn did bring us a pretty good solid record, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I would pick I could put it in an album of the year, but I wouldn't say it is the album of the year. Thrice still has it, guys. Don't worry, Thrice fans, it's okay. They haven't knocked you off yet, though my next review, we shall see if they might. But again, overall, Moonshaped Pool rocks. I will eventually be getting the deluxe edition, and by the time I do my favorites, which is what I'm going to call it now. I'm just going to do favorites of the year. Not best of the year, favorites of the year. And for 2016, and I would definitely put this one up there for sure. And when I do talk about that, I will be talking about the bonus tracks that are supposed to be coming with that deluxe edition. That should be coming out in September, and I'll probably get that. Also, other than that, within next week I should be talking to, whatever movies come out then, I'll probably and I'm interested in, I'll probably go see and discuss. I would also like to mention that I will be talking about the new Blink record, California, with the now Matt Skiba involved band, even though I'm starting to think this will be a plus 44 with maybe some Matt Skiba isms thrown in, honestly. But we'll see how this record goes, because thus far it seems like they're kind of repeating themselves with every track that we've heard they've released thus far for this record. I'll see. Then the following week we should have the new Switchfoot and new Chevelle, and I just found out today that I will be doing them anyway. I know some people hate them. I'm okay with them. I'm indifferent. They're not great, but I'm okay with them. I'll listen to them. I don't mind their messages. There are some of their positive messages, whether it be forced Christian stuff and all that, and that would be 1,000 Foot Crutch, Exhale. There's been hints about that record finally coming out, and that's supposed to be the Oxygen Inhale follow-up, and hopefully it might be a little bit better than that one. I personally enjoyed the 2 albums prior to Oxygen Inhale, but we'll see what happens. Again, overall, Moonshaped Pool rocks. And over the past month or two since this album's been released, what did you all think about it? Is it still sitting well with you? Do you all think it should be album of the year? Do you think it's better than Thrice record? I personally wouldn't say that it is. I might put it on par with it, but I don't know. I'm even sure about that myself. It's tough to say for me. But we'll see how it goes by the end of the year, and leave thoughts, comments below, and if you like this video, rock that like button with thrust if you must. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rockin'. And until my next review or whatever comes down the pipe, I'll see you all next time.